We're delighted to be able to progress these plans. There's papers coming to Executive on Wednesday next week that will propose a new £20 million investment fund for the development of new council housing in York over the next 5 years. And those homes will be delivered in a number of different ways. First of all, through construction and tendering of a contract in the normal way through the council, but also purchasing homes off plan from developers, similar to the exercise we carried out at Lindsay Avenue in 2015, but also securing first refusal on former council homes that go back onto the market. So it's a wide variety of different ways in which we'd look to increase our council housing stock, but ultimately it's very good news and demonstrates this administration's commitment to investing in new social housing in York. So this paper also includes proposals for £80 million worth of investment in repairs, maintenance and a modernisation programme in our existing stock. We've got just under 8,000 council homes across the city, and obviously repairing and maintaining those that sort of slip below the standards that we would expect is a very expensive process, but one that's obviously very important because we need to ensure that the homes that we make available to the people who desperately need them are of a decent standard. So we're talking about modernisations. This year alone we'll have 160 modernisations, which is very, very good news, but also we'll be doing things like replacing outdated boilers and heating systems, electrics, and also doing things like additional insulation, repairing roofs. So it's a very big project. It's an incredible amount of money, but we're very excited and we're pleased that we're able to present such a positive message in terms of investing in new council housing and also our existing stock. So it's good news for our current tenants, but it's also good news for the people who are on our waiting lists and are in desperate need for new social housing. York is in a particular place with regard to housing. We've got pressures in terms of affordability, so we have a significant waiting list, and there are a lot of people who ultimately desperately want a council house here. So it's really important that we invest in our stock, but ultimately this needs to be seen in the wider context of government policy in terms of housing policy as well. So more broadly, it's a change in direction from the government. Under Theresa May, we've seen a shift in emphasis, perhaps an acknowledgement that home ownership might not be achievable for everyone, and what we actually need in our housing market is a wider variety of different tenures, but particularly looking at affordable rent. So we saw earlier in February, we saw a housing white paper entitled Fixing Our Broken Housing Market, which is a real acknowledgement of that point. So it's a very interesting time. Housing is obviously very high up the political agenda, which is very good news. But we'll see what happens in the autumn statement. So the money itself, it's set out in the wider context of a 30-year plan for the housing revenue account, and that is actually all the money that we receive from rent from council tenants, and that's why basically we're allowed to ring fence that and reinvest that in improving our current stock and also investing in new stock. And obviously because it's over such a long period of time, we're able to borrow against that as well. So it's very long, it's actually very technical and very financial, and the document coming on Wednesday is actually a financial document in itself. But yes, it needs to be read in the context of that wider 30-year plan, but obviously that's broken up into 5-year stages and investment cycles.